it's here on YouTube. G4J's the channel. Napalm Dawn is my name. And the game is the new ISOs that are available in the store. Showed up on the Cami Spec Ops. And the background soundtrack is brought to you by the Bloodborne OST. Bloodborne is the first of the Souls-related games that I've played. And now I certainly see why. So let's talk about these ISOs. First, let me go ahead and give you guys a little bit of backdrop on this. During Season 27, we hit that last weekend of Season 27. And I made a joke. The joke was, this is how it's going to work, because this happens like this all the time. We're going to hit Friday. The last Friday of Season 27, Chapter 10 will drop. On Saturday, some ridiculously broken weapon or gadget will be discovered and abused all day Saturday and Sunday in PvP. And on Monday, PvP will be extended. Obviously, that didn't come true. However, that may hilariously be coming true for Season 28. As you know, the previous video I did for the channel was the one on all the current bugs that we're facing. The signpost hang-ups, the issues with Electro and Agent Gear, possibly an ISO that was rumored to have been bugged on Saturday, but I have not confirmed it, nor have I seen hide nor hair of it. You know, how are things going with the new EISOs, like the double drain bugs and everything, and we will talk about this on Friday's wrap-up video. And I do apologize if I'm inundating you guys with a lot of content lately between the week of Marvel Avengers Alliance and then the bug video and everything like that. I felt I needed to open up a discussion here about these new AISOs. First of all, I think the new AISOs are very polarizing. Why do I think they're polarizing? Because they split the community. If you're not in the know and you don't hang out with groups on Facebook or read the wiki, there was no real attention drawn to these AISOs. You don't really know about them. But they're there and they are game changing. And my problem is that Playdom dumps this on us in the last 3 days of PvP. We have Tuesday, we have Wednesday, we have Thursday. Really it's 4, but and then it ends Friday at 5 p.m. I think it's going to be Friday and not Thursday. So they're doing that pattern that I predicted. It just remains to be seen if any of this shit's going to be broken. Well, the three ISOs are the Ailing ISO, the Mending, and the Mauling. And and the Lethal. That one right here. And I'm pretty sure that's it. Okay, yeah, good. Alright, nothing particularly crazy over here. And they didn't manage to sneak in any character-specific ones, at least to the store. So, let's look at these, and I'll tell you straight up. They revitalize several characters that have disappeared. And they strengthen some people that a bunch of us just want to go away. Just like, please, get rid of this hero already. Do something to make it less popular. The Ailing A ISO 8, the equipped debuff action applies endemic. Increases the cooldown of the action on you. So the bottom part of it is saying, if this was a 1-round ability, it's now going to be a 3-round ability. What is endemic? Well, endemic is a new debuff that says, basically Pesty is here. It says it's manipulated. It is the manipulated from Scroll of Runemeroth. It is manipulated from the manipulation device thing. I think it was that Domino premium mission. It is, debuffs are going to stick. You can't clear it. So if you equip this on a debuff action that is AoE, you have now duplicated the Scroll of Runemeroth, or some people call the Black Scroll. The thing that was so underrated when people first saw it and went, psh, This thing, I mean, what? The Son of the Demon set? I don't want to use it. Yeah, whatever. This thing's trash. And then everybody was like, oh shit, this thing is not trash. And then there was the winter sale. Well, to all you people who wanted that scroll, you can kind of get it now in this. Granted, you're not getting the Staggered or the Opportunist, but you are getting the Pesty on a stick. Essentially, you're going to make it so that your buffs are locked in. It's a big key for several teams. The Mending A ISO 8 equipped Protect action causes the character to gain health when attacked. So, it is like a mini Colossus. This brings back any tank that has been out there before. And when combined with the E ISO that says this character protects at the beginning of combat, you have now created, you've taken maybe not an always on tank, but an activated tank like Thing, like Colossus, unlike Groot, Wonder Man, who start tanking right from the beginning. Captain America is an activated tank. Anybody who activates an ability to start tanking and then starts protecting, that's where this works out really well. So if you equip the Protect E-ISO, let's say Rescue, you can equip the Protect on Rescue and she starts tanking right at the beginning of combat. Then when you apply the Mending ISO to the move that creates the Protect nature, like Captain America, like Thing, like Colossus, the Steel Wall and everything, now they get heals when they're attacked. In certain situations now, we may be having heals off the charts. Now, Colossus, P5 Colossus, with the heal passive, only has the one ISO slot. Thank God. But if you gave him Scootum, the Elite ISO, and you had his heal passive, and you had this, so you have the P5 healing, you have the Elite ISO healing, draining, now you have this healing, and if maybe you throw in a Staff of Asclepios in there, you are facing the fucking Demon Wall from the Final Fantasy series that has an eternal heal over time on it. It's just going to be walking you down until it's like right here up against your party, healing the whole way. Crazy. And with the defensive-oriented armory things that we've had, I don't know the current one, obviously, but the former defensive ones, you could have a 30k Colossus that would be near invincible, especially if he's giving himself cover. This one's kind of dangerous. The Mauling A ISO 8. Equipped single target action applies flanked. Okay. To all you low-level people who maybe don't have level 15 heroes and everything, you have now just made certain scrappers level 15 immediately. Quicksilver Scrapper, Spitfire Scrapper. They can apply flanked on the first single target attack. And then if they hit that person on the next one, they're doing their, at least Quicksilver, he would be doing his AoE. Or, in Spitfire's case, she would be acting as if she had activated her Scrapper bonus, so she would get the follow-up. Very handy for lower level people, but very dangerous in the hands of, you know, the Vibranium, the Adamantium, the Spartans, the level 300s and everything like that. Could be particularly deadly in like the Spitfire Star-Lord groups. Obviously when the defense is in control, you don't necessarily know that the defense is always going to follow up. But I mean, imagine Spitfire single targeting somebody with this equipped. And then the enemy agent goes, and then your Star-Lord goes. Well, you're controlling Star-Lord, you hit the flank person, you're now applying Spray and Pray. If you're not using any of the, like the Hair Trigger ISO, which I've used on my channel. Yeah, just there's a lot of really interesting combinations for this. Obviously, debuff cleaners are going to fix it, but if this sticks, this opens up a world of hurt for attack teams. So we have the defensive teams that could make a strong impact. Now we have the offensive teams that do it. And here it is. The Lethal A ISO 8. So they release a Spec Ops kit that might have a lot of healing in it. But then they give us this Lethal A ISO 8 with the spare. It's almost like Playdom is saying, hey look guys, we know we're fucking up with the double, triple, quadruple Big Mac, bacon double cheeseburger, McDLT with the hot side hot, cold side cold. Cows are not imported from Brazil or China, Japan, Australia. Homegrown double stacks of heals. We know it's a problem. We're kind of going to hedge our bets, and some people will say, well, it's not really a cheat, and we don't care. And some people will say, oh yes, we at Playdom do know about it, we've brought it to the devs, they're going to look into it. There's been a mixed grab bag, but we know the facts. There are bugged drains going on in the game right now. The double drains on Kurth, the multiple drains off of the ISO combinations. Lethal and Ailing turn those ridiculously underwhelming debuff slots into the best thing in the game. They have, every time we've looked at debuff AISOs before, other than personal ones, like they're way down here. They're in the basement. I mean, they've been awful. You can't lock out debuffs. Oh, wow, that's a really great ISO. But look at the buff ISOs. The buff ISOs have been phenomenal. The debuff ones have been severely lacking. I've said for a long time now, they gotta do something about debuffs. You look at Pesty and you're like, half of his abilities I don't have an ISO to put here. This is stupid. But these two are off the charts. The Lethal A ISO 8 takes people like Kurth. You know she opens combat with Fear Me. It is a guaranteed she never doesn't. Never. There's not an AI tweak, oh, if you're exhausted, or she always opens up with Fear Me. She now opens up with Fear My Fucking Despair. That's what you have here, and I've already run into it once from a defensive team. There you go. That's it. You are guaranteed, and now because it can't be stopped by the Deb, you are guaranteeing that the enemy team is going to get Despair in round 1. You can flip a highly defensive team now to a highly offensive team. You can make a super attack-oriented Kurth that puts this out and says, you know what? You have no sustain now. You can't heal. You can't clean Despair, and because it's bordered, so we're just going to rapidly pound the crap out of you before the Despair comes up. No makes a comeback with this, and he makes a comeback with Magic Warding. That's another thing that has happened with today's patch. Magic Warding no longer prevents magic, it reduces the damage from it, and it says you may clean one off per turn, kind of like the Adeline set, or Rescue. You clean a debuff a turn, and I think maybe Emma's passive can do it, her Phoenix passive. Well, that's kind of good. That means you're smothering Shadow regardless of the Hexenjäger. Fuck you, Hexenjäger users, it's bugged. The Skeptic, all that. You don't have to run them anymore, so that shakes up the meta tremendously. What is really the point of sparing a crucial spot now for a Hexenjäger or Skeptic if it's not going to do that much anymore? You almost may be better off grabbing the Magic Warding ISO and slotting that instead. Huge shakeups for so late in the season, but the Lethal ISO turns Pesty into putting out Despair now as an AoE. It takes Kurth as a like Pesty's a little on and off. Sometimes he Jekyll and hides. Sometimes he doesn't open up with the bad gas anymore. He used to, but now he's a little mixed up. Kurth, no. Kurth will do it. So now you're guaranteeing a Despair. Null, when Null does his I gotta squat now and take a dump, he's putting a debuff on your entire team if he manages to hit it. So you can put Despair on that. That brings Null back, along with the nerf to Magic Warding. Now Meteor Swarm is guaranteed to stick, and probably tick at least once. So now all of a sudden Null and Kurth teams are back, and we kind of got rid of Null. He was gone for a large part of this. He's back. Angrier doesn't really get anything from this. He benefits from the phased one, because he might be able to sit in phase for a little while with the skittering and the summons and everything. But Null comes back. Pesty is back. Kurth goes crazy. I mean, let's look at the things that we can apply the debuffs to. I mean, it's nuts. And the other thing about Kurth is you could actually fix her AI stupidity with an ISO. You don't care about the increased cooldown for Fear Me because you're only going to do it once, and you know the AI only does it once. One time did a defensive Kurth actually reapply the Fear Me, and I think that's because she blew up somebody's runes. But Love Me occasionally gets spammed several times, and she might hit the same person twice. I had it happen about an hour ago. She hit my agent twice with Love Me. If you make it so that she has a long cooldown on this, with one of those ISOs, either the Despair one or the Pesty one, you now push Love Me off the chart. Fear Me is definitely pushed off the chart. She's not going to spam it anymore, and if it has an increased cooldown, she's really not. Now she's in the very dangerous Road to Ruin and Stonebreaker, things that could be stealthy, things that could give her thorns, and she might be forced into Stonebreakering way more often now, blowing up runes. You take those other two and you push them down. She only has 2 moves she can do. Makes Kurth incredibly dangerous. No. You could put Flanked on his Ragnarok and Sockham. You could put Despair or the Pesty on the You're Not Worthy. Null all of a sudden shoots up in the power rankings. Steel Curtain, there's a good example of the buff one. Skrin could make a huge comeback, dump a bunch of flanked moves over here, and she's in pretty good shape over there. You know, there's a lot of things you could do with her buff. There are nutty things that you can do. Now, let's take a look at Enchantress and see if Enchantress benefits from any of this, from her psychic attacks. Gamora has an issue with the Deb, with her stuff and whatnot. She'd be a little bit harder, but okay. Debuff magic for charm and alluring voice. All of a sudden, Enchantress doesn't need the Scroll of Runemeroth or Pesty anymore to lock her shit in. You could slot Despair. You can slot Despair Pesty. All of a sudden, her things open up like crazy. I previously had Thorned over here, because what else were you going to do? Well, you could take that and put it on her Magic Missile and now abuse these. I don't think any of his are considered debuff. Victor, does any of Victor's get called debuff? No. Good. Calculator Kid's just a buff. Let's see, who stands out for debuff? Grenade? Nope. Okay, that's good. Mordo doesn't. Colleen won't. Misty, I don't think does. Oh, well, wait a minute. Does Misty have... Yeah, there you go. Killer Diller. Killer Diller is a quick action. You can Pesty or Despair somebody off of Misty Knight. That turns her into something. Elsa gets a nice little boon again. I mean, she was pretty good for a few seasons and then she dropped off because of the Deb. She can make a comeback. Now, you can put... she has the Despair over here, but you can put the Pesty on a stick on her tea time. and just pick single targets. You're like, I want to get rid of this target over here. I'm going to go ahead and pesty them, and now I've despaired the team. And now I'm going to focus that target down while he's pestied. Boomerang. Does Boomerang have anything? Okay, the Tracker Rang. He's got it on the Tracker Rang. I mean, it's crazy what you can do now, and the biggest things are going to be the AoE debuff actions. Let's check out the mines. Yeah, the mines. Any one of these mines, which go out on all enemies. Poof, despair. Poof, pesty on a stick. Electro gets in on the action, I believe, here with, yeah. This is basically a quick action generalized, and now it's a quick action despair, or a quick action pesty. Huge changes, and this is just, it's nuts that we get this within the last 3 days of PvP. I really fear for what may happen to people's defenses overnight in the next few days, and potentially in the last few hours, but let's go back and take a look at Rescue. Is it possible we could be revitalizing Rescue as a tank? Okay, so one thing you could give her is Unexhaustible, and you can give her Protect at the beginning of combat. Protector Protocol, this is her tanking ability. This is a Protect ability. You can apply that new healing ISO to that. So now, as soon as she casts Protector Protocol, she'll start healing. And she's going to have shields. You can give her Snappy Service and Protect at the beginning of combat. Or Snappy Service and Unexhaustible. And then, boom. Now all of a sudden she becomes that annoying stall tank in the last 3 hours of PvP that she used to be a year ago. It's crazy. It really, really is crazy what we are going to be facing here. It's a tremendous shakeup, and I don't think it's an unwelcome shakeup. I just think it's a dangerous one to do at the end of a season when we are facing a lot of existing bugs. Can Magneto get anything? No. No, he doesn't really benefit over here. Does the Spears? But yeah, I mean, just go through your heroes and look at your debuff actions and think about what you might be able to do with them now. It's going to be crazy. Well, there you go. Call the Seas. Boom. AoE Despair. AoE Pesty. Three days left in PvP. Crazy. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what teams you're thinking about in the comments below. And yeah, feel free to join the Twitch streams the whole rest of the week here. It's certainly going to be really, really interesting. Take care, everybody.